can have a ripple effect that can extend for generations beyond us. Like whether you think about this consciously or not, this is how it works and how it's always worked throughout history. Your children, your grandchildren, they may forget what you say, maybe, but they'll never forget what you do. Because, it's so easy to just go through our daily routines. We don't think consciously about our actions, our behavior. We don't really think about the wider impact that our actions have. Even little things, little actions. But whether you realize it or not, your family members, your spouse, your children, your dad, bowed down to the ground 7 times as he approached his brother. Right? Just when it seems like the sword's gonna come down, right? Esau runs up, he hugs his long-lost brother, he cries tears of joy. And Jacob, understandably, is baffled by this. He's mystified. He's totally mystified. Because he knows that Esau, his big brother, has superior power. He's got 400 guys with him, all right? He's got a small army with him. He's got complete justification to kill him for his misdeeds, long ago though they might have been. And if you read the rest of the chapter, you know that over the years, Esau, and then one day, out of the blue, Joseph finds himself face to face with his brothers. The same brothers who made no secret about their loathing for him, who sold him into slavery, left him for dead, sent him far away from home, right? They're standing in front of him, desperate for food, because there's a famine back home in Canaan. Of course, they don't recognize Joseph. He's like full-on Egyptian by this point, probably, using like all the makeup the Egyptians did. They figure he's long dead and gone. Okay, they don't recognize him, but he recognizes them. Oh, yes. They just want to buy some food. Egypt is flush with food. Why? Thanks to Joseph's hard work and effort and God's blessing, okay? But here's the thing, I can just imagine Joseph's first reaction. His ne'er-do-well brothers have come to him begging, pleading for food. We got no food back home. Please, Mr. So-and-so official guy, can you give us some food? I can just imagine what Joseph's first thoughts would be. Because I've kind of been there, not quite, but we've all encountered, we've all dealt with extreme disappointment at some point in our lives, haven't we? Right? It's just common to human life, human existence. And haven't you? You have, at least I have. Haven't you thought, wouldn't it be great to get back at him? Yeah? A little bit of revenge. I can just imagine what the first thought through Joseph's mind would be at this moment. I hope you rot in hell, you miserable scum who tried to kill me. Because that's what I'd be thinking. Probably, right? Joseph may have thought that. We have no idea. We don't know. But we do know that Joseph doesn't really interact with them, but he sends them back home to collect his younger brother, Benjamin, right? To bring him back, okay? All the while, he keeps his identity secret. And you can read all of this in Genesis 42 to 44. Jacob's sons, they go back, they tell Dad, hey, Dad, we didn't bring any food. I mean, a little bit, not as much as we thought. We got to take Benjamin back, because the guy we talked to, he was really mean. I don't know why, right? So, but we got to bring Benjamin back. Jacob's not happy about this, right? But then they come back a second time. Joseph gathers all of his brothers for a feast. And I can picture this, right? It's an enclosed room, kind of intimate, you know. And here's the thing. I can imagine yet again what Joseph might have been thinking. Because again, I probably would have planned it this way myself. You have no idea how long I waited for this day, right? All those years I spent in misery, enslaved, in a stinking Egyptian prison, hungry, mistreated. I dreamed about this moment. Oh yes, you have no idea. I fantasized about having you in my grasp, right? I fantasized about all the things I'd do to you. Judah, right? Judah, you were the one who suggested that you guys sell me. I remember, okay? Right? There were times when I wish you would have just killed me outright. That would have been better, right? Judah, oh man, I love to tear you limb from limb. We have ways in Egypt. Yeah, right? I would love to throw you into that prison where I suffered for so long. I want to make you suffer just like you did to me. I fantasized about this, but I never thought I'd actually have the opportunity to make it happen. And now here it is. Now, in a typical Hollywood movie, this is what's known as the revenge scene, right? Okay? Joseph reveals himself, right? He laughs a diabolical laugh. Because it's Hollywood. That's like, you have to do that, right? There's this massive slaughter, blood splattered all over the walls, right? The brothers get their comeuppance, all is deserved, right? We've seen this in movies numerous times. But if you read Genesis 45, that does not happen, right? Joseph does reveal himself, but his brothers were not able to answer him, as they're terrified at his presence. Wonder why? Then he, Joseph, threw his arms around his brother Benjamin and wept. Okay, he likes his little brother, right? But this blows my mind. And he kissed all his brothers and wept over them. I remember, familiar story. I love this story. It's really interesting. I remember a few years ago, I read this. I don't know if I read it with fresh eyes. I actually cried when I read this, right? Because this is not expected. You're not supposed to, you have the chance to get revenge and you don't. What's the matter with you? That's so beautiful, right? And why does Joseph do this? I always thought, because he's a godly man, and this is what godly men do. That's part of it, I'm sure. But rereading this, and credit where credit's due, Pastor Tim kind of enlightened me on this. Here's the thing, this is only part of the story. It's only part of it. Yes, Joseph's a godly man, sure, we get it. But why does Joseph do this? Why does he show mercy to his brothers? Here's the thing, you could argue that Joseph's actions actually originate decades before. Decades before, back to when Joseph was a kid, and he sees another revenge story playing out right in front of him. Yeah? Because Joseph, remember, Joseph saw his uncle Esau show mercy when mercy was certainly not deserved. Joseph saw his uncle Esau show grace when grace was the last thing his dad, Jacob, expected. Joseph witnesses his uncle Esau put up his hand and say, yeah, Jacob, little bro, you're a jerk. You deserve to die, right? I deserve to get my revenge, but you know what? That was a long time ago. I'm doing okay. I got a family. I have enough in the bank. Life is pretty good. I can tell you've probably suffered enough, even if it's just mentally over the years, all right? You are a jerk, but I don't need to do this. Let's go get dinner. Yeah? Joseph himself likely wouldn't have even been alive at this point if it had not been for Esau's mercy. So here's the deal. Joseph saw how that behavior decades before changed his entire family dynamics, right? Joseph saw that mercy can be manly, right? Mercy can be manly. Mercy can be better than revenge, right? You can talk mercy all you want. Talk is cheap. But to see it acted out in person is something else, right? And the mercy that Esau shows to his brother eventually changed the world through Joseph's actions decades later. Like, that just blows my mind, because Esau could never have foreseen this moment. Never could have foreseen this, right? Now, here's the thing. You and I, we may never be in a situation as dramatic as this. Let's hope. But the point is still the same, right? The actions that we take today will be repeated by the next generation. Which is a very sobering thought, isn't it? Right? The actions we take today will be repeated by the next generation. Now, again, that's not to say that you've got to be hyper aware of every single little thing you do, granted. But it behooves us to be more conscious of our actions, right? Do you want your children to be generous? Guess what? You got to be generous. Model it for them. Right? Do you want your children to appreciate other people, other cultures? Then you model diversity, inclusion. Do you want your children to know Jesus? Then you pray. You share stories from the Bible. You model yourself after Jesus. Yeah? Paul reminds us in 2 Corinthians 3 that we all of us, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being what? Transformed. We're being transformed to his image, Jesus' image, with ever-increasing glory, which comes from the Lord. Or you can put this in a more familiar way, perhaps. By beholding, we become changed, right? Whatever you look at, whatever you drink in, that's what you're likely to become. That is how you will behave. That is what you will be, right? I never used to believe that. I hated that saying. By beholding, you become changed. I hated it, but it's true. It took me a while to learn that, yeah? So what do you want to be changed into? What do you want your kids to be changed into? What do you want your relationships, your family, your marriage to look like? Because it's in our hands, our choices, yeah? My great-uncle Lloyd, I wish I had a picture to show you, sorry. He was a very attractive man. He had this kind of squarish face. He looked very manly. I loved him to death. My great-uncle Lloyd was an amazing man, and I could spend the next hour telling you about him, but I'm already going a little bit long. I'm guilty of that, sorry. But I admired him very much, and I want to be just like him. He passed away in 2004. It's hard to believe it's been 18 years already. But at his memorial service, on every table they had the program. And on the program, they had printed out something that they had found in his papers right after he had passed away. And he had written down a list of rules to live by. Okay, rules to live by, 8 of them. And they're nice sayings, right? They're kind of neat, sort of thing that sound really good in an ideal world. But I saw my great-uncle live out these rules in his own life. I saw him do this. I saw him act this way. And for the last 18 years since I saw that list, I've taken it upon myself to try, I'm not real good at it, but to try to follow his example, right? You want to hear these 8 rules? Yeah, they're pretty cool. First one, never lose your capacity for enthusiasm. Yeah, be excited. Like, have joy in life. Never lose your capacity for enthusiasm. Never lose your capacity for indignation. Because, like, there's stuff in the world that requires indignation, right? Whether it's injustice or racism or whatever. Easy to turn a blind eye to that. Just say, yeah, oh, well. No! Be angry. Right? Righteously angry, right? Never lose your capacity for indignation. Never judge people. Don't type them too quickly. But in a pinch, always assume first that a man is good and that at worst he's in the gray area between good and bad. Yeah? Number 4, if you can't be generous when it's hard, you won't be when it's easy. The greatest builder of confidence is the ability to do something, almost anything, well. And I love the next one. When that confidence comes, then strive for humility. You aren't as good as all that. And my great uncle, he was one of the most humble men I've ever known. I love him. The way to become truly useful is to seek the best that other brains have to offer. Use them to supplement your own and give credit to them when they've helped. Indeed. The greatest tragedies in the world and in personal events stem from misunderstandings. Answer to that? Communicate. Yeah? 8 things, oh wow, that's really nice. I'm hungry, let me go have lunch. Now, if you live your life by those 8 principles, if all of us did that, can you imagine what the world would look like? Like amazed, like I've strived to pattern myself after that. I fail time and time again, but man, I want to be like that man. I really do. Right? He was an incredible man who lived a good, positive life. And I see, like, if I were to be like that, like what kind of ripple effect would my actions have on my marriage, on my students, on my friends, right? What kind of ripple effect would that have? Because we have a choice on a daily basis. What legacy are we leaving for our family? What values are we leaving for our loved ones? And how are those values going to play out in their lives and their children's lives and so on down the road? Like, what would you do differently if you knew that your children would eventually take their cues from your actions as they live their own lives? It's a sobering thought, I know, right? So, like, what kind of ripple effect are you having in your family's interactions? You ready for another movie recommendation as we finish up? Okay, one of my favorite movies ever. Love this movie. Not historically accurate in the least. But you don't go to movies for historical accuracy. You go to movies for entertainment, granted. One of my favorite movies, movie Gladiator. Okay, Gladiator. Man, it's cool, right? Toward the beginning, the Roman general Maximus, right? He's rousing up his troops to go into battle, and he says this. He says this, what we do in life echoes in eternity. What we do in life echoes in eternity. And again, I know that's sobering, it's maybe a little bit scary, but here's the thing. The actions, minimal though they may seem, the actions we take today will have ripple effects on down the road. So what do you want that to look like? Yeah? What do you want that to look like? So my friends, as we finish up today, I want to leave you with something to talk about and something to put into practice, right? This is something that Pastor Tim started with us 4 years ago. You realize that cat's been with us for 4 years now? Man. And seriously, when Pastor Tim started this whole talk and walk thing 4 years ago, I thought, that's stupid. Like, nobody's going to do that. Like, they're going to, as soon as they walk out the door, they're not going to remember, like, oh, let's talk about that. But no, Tim's a smart guy. Like, he knows how to do this. So I really do like and appreciate his weekly talks and walks. So carrying it on. So with all of this in mind, talk about this with your spouse, your kids, your friends, whatever. How do you find yourself being like your parents in ways you like and maybe in ways you don't like? okay? Because we got them both, don't we? Okay? But then here's the thing. You can talk all you want, but talk is cheap, but actions speak louder than. So, what can we do to maybe put this into practice? Pick one behavior that you want to see expressed in your children's lives and make a conscious effort to model it this week, okay? And here's the thing. Maybe you're like newly married, you don't have kids yet. Okay, well, here's the thing. If you're planning on having kids, you can start this now, right? Like, what behavior would you like to see in your future children? Or, like in your marriage, like what would you like to see your marriage look like? You start, right? Be the change, like Gandhi said, yeah? So all of us can do this, wherever we are in whatever stage in life we are, right? Pick some behavior that you want to see modeled in your family and start doing it, yeah? So my friends, thank you for going through this process with me. And if you bow your heads, let's ask for God's blessing on us. God, you are so good to us, and we thank you so much for being our model and for showing us how to live in mercy and justice and ultimately in love. We thank you for your love, and we pray for your power to be manifested through us and use us to be excellent godly models for our children, our spouses, our friends, our coworkers, whoever, because we want to change this world for your glory and to see your kingdom come. So God, go with us today and use us for your glory. In your name, in your Son's name, amen.
Sing. You are my hiding place. You always fill my heart with songs of deliverance. Whenever I am afraid, I will trust in you. I will trust in you. Let the weak say I am strong in the strength of the Lord. I will trust in you. I will trust in you. Let the weak say I am strong in the strength of the Lord. I will trust in you. I will trust in you. Let the weak say I am strong in the strength of the Lord. I will trust in you. I will trust in you. Let the weak say I am strong in the strength of the Lord. I will trust in you. I will trust in you. Let the weak say I am strong in the strength of the Lord. I will trust in you. Amen. Good job, kids. I loved it. And the rest of you have a good Sabbath and a good lunch and a good rest of your day.